the first thing that I want to do is I want to rotate the turntable to show that it rotates about the base and the way that it would actually move in real life. So I want to animate this constraint at the turntable and show how it rotates about the base. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this base object tree. I'm going to right click on the angle where it says 0 degrees here, and I'm going to click right here where it says animate constraints. And you'll see it pops up this screen, and it'll pop up this animation timeline as well. And I kind of prefer to have this thing expanded, because once you get a whole bunch on there, you can see all the different constraints that are being animated. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, and you'll notice that there's nothing on there yet, but there will be as we create these animation constraints. So usually the things that we're going to change here is this. This thing never needs to be changed because we've already selected which constraint that we want to animate. There's no point in this where I want to actually enable a constraint at a particular time. I always want my constraints enabled. I just want them to change. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to change my constraint as time goes on in my animation. So this one currently starts at 0 degrees, and that's what will show up here is what it currently is at. But I want to actually make it go from 0 to 90 degrees. And also in this time, I want you to always click specify. So this allows you to specify a start and end time. It's a little bit simpler than doing these other ones. This just allows you to specify a start and end time. It'll select the duration. From previous will start from the previous action, and instantaneous will automatically make it so that the duration is 0. But that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense in a lot of cases. So for specify, you could just select the start and end time to be exactly the same. So the time I want this to start, I want it to sit in the animation for 1 second. So you'll see that the animation time is going to go from 0 to 1 second, and then I want my animation to start. So I'm going to start this at 1 second, and I want it to go for about 4 seconds. So let's go ahead and make the end time 5 seconds. So you'll see the duration here is 4 seconds. So the other thing that we may want to mess with sometimes, I'm not going to do it in this video, but you can play with the acceleration. So what this does is it automatically makes it so that 20% of the time that I've allotted for the animation is going to be spent ramping up to a constant speed. 60% of the time it's going to be sitting there at that constant speed, and then 20% of the time it's going to be slowing down. So if you wanted to animate, say, something crashing into a wall, you might make this a 0, and then you might make this 80%. So you'll see it like ramping up in speed, and then of course if it crashes into a wall, it's not going to decelerate, it's just going to stop. So that's something that you can play with a little bit. So we're going to leave that alone right now. So I'm going to say OK on this, and you'll see that it changes, right? So it actually went through the range of motion, and it's setting me here on my timeline at 5 seconds. So you can see as I go back to the beginning, it's going to move, and then I can actually push play up here, and you can see that it's moving through its range of motion in the way that we specified. It does actually start right at 1 second, exactly as I specified. So that looks perfect, and it's moving the exact same way that I'd like it to.